this is Cheryl. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel today. Today I'm going to show you a cute little Christmas card that I made using this stamp set from My Favorite Things. It's called Deck the Howls, and it's made up of these cute little dogs with some really kind of fun sayings that I thought were cute. And I have the coordinating dies for them, so I thought these would be fun to make a cute little scene with. So to get started, I stamped out a bunch of the images several times. I do this as part of my beginning procedure whenever I get a new stamp set. Because I never kind of know in the beginning what I'm going to make with the stamps yet, so I stamp everything out, and that gives me an opportunity to color them and decide what colors I want to use and kind of make my color map. So I do several of these cards. So I think for this particular set I have 4 of these panels, just like you see here. And so I just grab one, and it's nice because sometimes you just feel like coloring and you don't really want to get out your ink and your stamp wipes and all that kind of stuff. You just want to start coloring. And so these I keep in my stamp pocket, and I just pull one out and start coloring. And then what happens is once I start to color them, I get motivated or I get inspired with a scene or a particular idea in my head of how I want to use the images once I have them all die cut and colored. So here I am coloring up these images. I colored a few of them before I started filming, and then I decided I would make a video out of this. So the first 2 images are already colored, but I'm going to show you the coloring of the final 3 doggies. And I love this set because I'm a dog person. I recently lost my 3 dogs over time. I shouldn't say recently, it's been a year since the last dog I lost. But here are my 3 babies. I have Lola, Luke, and Moose. And Lola was a rescue dog, and she was part Rottweiler and part Lab. And she was just a sweet little girl. I lost her about 3 years ago. And then Luke and Moose, who are the 2 black Labradors, they are brothers, litter mates. And Luke went Valentine's Day 2 years ago, and then Moose we just lost this past July. So I'm empty nested really bad, and we're struggling so hard on whether or not we want to get another dog. It's just so quiet here. It's just me at home during the day, and I was just beside myself with grief for so many months. And anyway, so coloring up, I don't mean to get sad on you guys, but coloring up these little dogs make me happy. Even though none of them look to be Rottweiler, or not Rottweilers, but Labradors, they're still pretty darn cute. And anyway, it makes me happy and makes me smile to color these cute little dogs up. So I just thought I'd share that little story with you. And, if I do decide to get another dog, I will definitely do a rescue. My 2 labs were not rescued. They were from breeders, and they were amazing, and I loved them. But I have a big soft spot in my heart for all of these poor dogs that don't have homes. And I have a really soft spot for geriatric dogs. So we'll see what happens. I'm still trying to nurse my broken heart, and once I get past that, I'll see about getting another dog. But if you've been following along with the coloring, I've been putting the colors of the Copic markers up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen for each shift in colors that I use. I think I'm least happy with this little wiener dog that I'm coloring right now, the gray one. I liked him until I started to decorate his sweater, and then I didn't like it. So he didn't actually make it to my card, but he's still pretty cute. I'll use him for something else, I'm sure. But my Copic coloring is very simple. I use 2 or 3 shades depending on how big the area is, and if the area is pretty small, sometimes I just do 1 shade, like this green color I'm doing right now. I don't accent with any darker shades. I do come in and with my Copic liner marker, and I do some design on it, like right here. I wished I hadn't done that. I don't like how it turned out. But it is what it is. I have 2 more of these panels. I can color them up differently. So then I'm going to come in and just use my white gel pen and clean up any stray marks that went outside the lines. And I forgot to color this little bone. This is the cutest little thing. I only end up using 1 bone in the card, but I have a vision for another card where I just have a massive pile of bones that are made into like ornaments on a Christmas tree with, you know, the dog staring up at it, something like that cute. I thought would just be adorable. So that's hopefully in the works for later on. But here I am putting in just the white gel pen markings to add some cute little highlights. And one of my friends started talking about in her videos doing cute little white dots, and it's just kind of a fun thing to do that looks cute, and so I thought I'd try it too, and it does look really cute, so thanks, Katie. Okay, so here I'm just die cutting everything. I'm in kind of high speed, and here are all the pieces. And now I'm going to start to work on the background, which I'm going to ink blend. Oh no, sorry. I'm actually decided I want a Christmas tree in my scene. So here's another example of where I marked out a bunch of Christmas trees where I figured I'd use them, and if I felt like coloring, I just had these Christmas trees here to color. And so I pulled this one out and decided this was the tree that I wanted to use in the scene. So here I'm just coloring it up and using a couple different shades of green and trying to be careful because I don't want to color in any of the lights around the bulbs so that they don't, because the green will obviously not look right. But it ends up being pretty cute. I just do 3 different colors for the bulbs and a gold star, and it turns out great. If anybody's interested, that particular Christmas tree is from the Simon Says Stamp set called Simon and Dexter Christmas, and this is a few years old, but it's also another dog stamp that I fell in love with. So here I am just finishing up the tree. God, what would we do without our white gel pens to cover up all of our boo-boos? So die cutting it, and now I'm going to get ready and start to prepare the background. And I'm going to make a couple of snowscapes, snow hills, for the front of this card, and these are dies from Simon Says Stamp, and I just cut from Nina white cardstock, and they've got some stitching, decorative stitching on it, which I like. And you can cut, if you don't have dies like these, you can make your own hand cut slopes, which work just as fine. But I had these, and I like the stitching on the edges, so I put 2 together to stack them, and then I cut off that one little edge that I didn't want. And I'm just going to tuck that behind the front hill so that you can't see it, and put those together. And what I'm doing here is I'm just marking kind of really lightly with a pencil where the top of the snow hill is, so that I know where to stop inking. And I'm using 2 shades of blue, Tumbled Glass, and oh my gosh, I can't remember what the other one is. I think it's Salty Ocean. No, it's Mermaid Lagoon. And my ink pad was really dry, so I re-inked it really fast. And you can see how much more vibrant that blue is after it's been re-inked. And then I'm just coming in with a little bit of a darker blue just for some interest. Nothing too crazy. In the end, you can kind of hardly tell, but putting my snowflakes on now. Just some plain white acrylic paint is all I use, with some water. And I went a little crazy. I should have stopped much sooner with my snowflakes, but no, I decided to keep on going, and I ended up with quite a mess. But it's a blizzard, so we're gonna go with it. Cleaning up my mess now, putting my clipboard away, drawing the scene, the background scene. Make sure it's good and dry, because I am going to emboss the sentiment on it. So here I have all my pieces and my parts, and I'm putting the snow on. And I was going to stack it with double foam, and then I just thought, no, I don't want that much bulk, because I wanted to pop up a couple of the dogs. So I left the snowbanks flat, just flat on top of each other. And it worked out really well that way too. So now I'm positioning some things to just make sure I know where I want them and where I can put the sentiment. And there's that little dog bone. I love that dog bone. And so this is how I'm going to lay everything out. And I'm going to put the sentiment up top. So I grabbed my Misty and dusted off with my powder tool and situate where the stamp will go. And here I'm having to put the pieces back in now just to make sure I have the sentiment right where I need it to be. And it ends up sliding around on me, and I fiddle with it for a little bit, but I eventually get it sorted. I use VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. It's my favorite for sentiments. It's also a pigment ink, so it catches the embossing powder nicely. So I'm just going to quickly throw some clear ultra fine embossing powder by Wow on this. And I keep my embossing powder in just this is a Ziploc disposable Tupperware kind of thing from the grocery store for sandwiches, and it works great to hold my embossing powder because it's wide enough for a card to fit right into. My heat tool of choice is made by Wagner, and I love this heat tool. It's a little bit more expensive than the other craft ones you can get like at Ben Franklin's or Michael's, but it heats up really fast and I like it. So here I'm just grabbing a piece of pre-cut Neenah Solar White cardstock in 110 pound weight, and I score it, and I want this to be a side fold card, the landscape orientation. For some reason I like that, the side fold, rather than the top fold for landscape. And then I put it down with some of my Lawn Fawn glue, and then I reposition it because I didn't have it down right the first time. And so I'm just adhering this whole panel onto the front of the card base. And now I'm going to glue down all of my pieces. So I start with the Christmas tree, and then I think I add the presents, I put in the presents, and I'm just, deciding I want to pop up a couple of the dogs with some foam tape. And this foam tape, I just bought it. I was using a weird brand from Ben Franklin Crafts, but I bought this online, these foam squares online from, I think it was Ellen Hudson, and they're called scrapbook adhesives, and they're 2 different sizes, which I like. And I like the rounded edges. They're a little bit thicker than the cheaper version I get at Ben Franklin, and I'm not sure if I like that. Sometimes I like just a really thin profile foam square, but these popped up real nice, and since I didn't have the dimension with the snow, I figured I could afford a little bit more of a thicker foam behind it. So I'm just putting down the tree and the bone, and then pulling off the backing and sticking these guys down. And if I were to make this card again, I would actually fussy cut out that white part in between these dogs' antlers, whatever those are, that, the headband that's holding the ornaments. I don't like that white that was left behind from the die cut, so next time I will fussy cut that out so there's not so much white. And so here's my card. It's not quite finished yet. I decided I want to put on some little glitter snowflakes, and these are a recent purchase as well, and I can't tell you where they're from because I tore off the top and threw it away. But I did get them at the same time I got my foam squares from Ellen Hudson. And so I'm just putting in a few different sparkly snowflakes. I'm using my jewel picker to put them down. This is a new tool for me also. Usually I use a tweezers, but I've decided I've seen so many people use the jewel pickers that I wanted to try it, and I really do like it. I just don't use a lot of gems and sequins and things like that, so I didn't think I needed it, but I'm actually happy that now that I have it. And so in the center of each of these snowflakes is a little hole, and so I'm using those glitter stickles to put just a little dot in the center of each of those snowflakes to kind of cover up that hole, and that will finish it off for me. So this turned out super cute. I love it. I'm gonna make more of these and for my stash for my personal Christmas cards this year. So okay, yeah, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everyone. Bye.